Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun scroll saw project video, have an amazing design for summer 2024. Really cool. Summer is indeed right around the corner, and I'm so excited for those bright, sunshiny days. Hopefully a trip to the beach is in order. And speaking of that, that is the subject of today's project, and it's going to be a highly detailed tropical scene. The design in question comes from the latest issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing. Summer 2024 issue 95 is available now wherever magazines are sold, so hopefully you guys have picked this up. The article and everything begins on page 63, and here is what we're going to be making. It says, nautical fretwork scene. Stylized lighthouse is a great way to practice making crisp, decisive cuts. Indeed, as I said, there is a ton of detail that makes up this amazing lighthouse portrait here. And I want to go on and give a thanks to Daria and Rolf. I do not want to try to pronounce their last names, but there they are in the article for providing the pattern and the example here. And one thing that you will note in the design that is showed here in the magazine, there is no backer board on it, and that's a great versatile way of using a scroll saw pattern, and however you interpret it in your mind's eye. You can cut it out and paint it blue just like this and set it in a windowsill to capture the morning sunrise or the evening sunset, and especially with it being a lighthouse scene, I think that is very appropriate. Although you can also add backer boards to it. The full-size pattern for this design is in the pattern pull-out section, and I've already pulled the full-size patterns out and photocopied the design there. You can see how big it is, and I've got it attached to our material with clear packing tape. So really neat. I'm going to go on a stack cut and make 2 out of 1/4 inch material in today's video and finish one of them on today's video for you guys. And speaking of the options, I've already got another piece of 1/4 inch material spray painted a nice tropical blue. So once I get everything cut out, if I want to go the route with the backer board, that option is already prepared for me. But a lot of amazing detail in this project. We will, as always, take our time and let the blade do the work. And since everything is pretty much prepared, all we need to do is drill our pilot holes and get started. And over here on the workbench, we're going to take the Seiko Scroller's drill and drill out the many pilot holes that make up this project. All in all, there's over 130 interior cuts on this project. It's more of what a scroll saw artist can call a meditation piece, where you can just sit at your scroll saw and enjoy the hobby that is scroll sawing. But once we get all of the pilot holes drilled, we will head over to the scroll saw and begin scrolling. And I will begin with some of those smaller details. And there is some very tiny details in this project we're cutting out. Sometimes it feels like it takes longer to change the blade out for the interior cut than it takes to do the actual cut itself. For all of the scrolling on this project, I will be using a number 5 Ultra Reverse Tooth scroll saw blade, and it will cut through the material exceptionally well with minimal chip out, which is always good when it comes time for sanding. And again, we are stack cutting here, so we are getting 2 projects essentially for the time it took to cut out the one here. Still doing those tiny details. And when I get to do a project like this, I just get lost in my world of sawdust. I have the air filtration unit on, and then I also have on some good music. In this case, with the subject matter being tropical, I had on some good classic Carolina beach music. But lighthouses are majestic and romantic structures in a way. They are the guiding light along a lot of coast. I know North Carolina has 10 or 12 of them along our outer banks to guide the ships along. They are from a bygone era in maritime history. And I know from this angle you guys cannot really see what I am scrolling out, but I wanted to illustrate the angle of the scroll saw as opposed to how I am sitting. You will notice that I am not hunched over and my shoulders are not stiff looking, you know, the way I'm holding everything. This is just a very comfortable position for me, and everyone that comes over to the workshop to try the scroll saw ends up putting their scroll saw on an angle as well. And depending on your height, you might have to adjust the angle in which you like your scroll saw at the best. But this is what works best for me. and I can sit here for several hours without any kind of fatigue setting into my neck or shoulders. But I am just diligently working on this project. It took me well over 2 hours to scroll it out from start to finish. I was, of course, taking my time and letting the blade do the work. If you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and also follow me across all my social medias under the Artisan Pirate name. And now that we have all of the tiny details done, I can work my way around the top of the lighthouse to cut out all of the rays that make up the beam from the lighthouse's light. And I will let you guys know that I went through 2 scroll saw blades cutting this project out. A little more than halfway through, I felt the scroll saw blade I was using getting dull, so I just quickly swapped them out for a fresh, sharp blade. But we are now getting to the end of all of the interior cuts. But once all of the interior cuts are done, all of the scroll sawing is not done. We will of course retension the blade and trim it to its final size, but we will come back to the scroll saw one more time later on in the video. But for now, once this cut is done, we will be done at the scroll saw for now. And once we remove the pattern, we can see that we have 2 beautiful lighthouse portraits due to stack cutting. But I will take the one over to my vibrating palm sander and I will sand it with 180 grit Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper. And I'll be very careful when I sand it to make sure I don't damage none of that delicate fretwork. And back at the workbench, we can peel off the blue painter's tape we used to mask off the border and get prepared for gluing the scroll work to the backer board. And for the glue up, I will use basic medium grade CA glue and activator, and I'll also use spring clamps and strips of wood. The strips of wood will help add pressure to those center details to make sure they grab the backer board as well. And I'll let it cure for around 5 minutes. And then I can come back and remove the spring clamps. I know the CA glue basically dries instantly with the activator, but I still like to set it aside and let it cure for 5 minutes or so. But now we can begin the final bit of scroll saw work and do some flush trimming. Again, using that same number 5 ultra reverse tooth blade we used for all of the other scroll work. But now that all the scroll work is done, I will quickly flush sand all the way around over here on my belt sander. And then we can step outside to give it a finish of several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss. And when this dries, the project is complete. And here we have the completed Fretwork Lighthouse Scene, cut out completely from start to finish over on the scroll saw, and it finished up amazingly well. I want to once again go on and thank Daria and Rolf for this amazing design from the latest issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine. It took me around 2 hours to scroll this project out from start to finish, so please keep in mind that you of course need to take your time and let the blade do the work, especially if you want everything to come out nice and crisp as it has here in today's video for you guys. This project has over 130 interior cuts. I kind of counted them as I was drilling them all out because I knew it was a lot. I just didn't know how many. And I just put on some classic Carolina beach music and got lost in my world out here with the headphones and dust mask on and just enjoyed my time cutting out this tropical piece. I really love the symmetry in it, how the waves on both sides look identical. Of course, the lighthouse up the middle and then the guiding beams from the beacon and everything at the top. Really, really neat. I know in some people's eyes they use a lighthouse as kind of a religious symbol, you know, like the lighthouse is their guiding light in their walk with faith and everything. But of course, for me, living in North Carolina, along the outer banks of North Carolina, we have what are called the Southern Lights, and it's a string of 10 to 12 lighthouses that are very famous and have been featured in a ton of movies, and people make pilgrimages to come and go to all of the lighthouses. I hope to one day be able to go and do that myself. I have never been to a lighthouse, but I have always thought they are beautiful structures from a bygone maritime era. But really, really neat. I finished this one in my standard finishing way. We already had the backer board painted to save some time when we started today's video, because I know the bulk of the work was going to be in cutting out all of the detail in this beautiful design. But after it was cut out and sanded, we glued it, trimmed around it, and then gave it several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss out in the yard. And I really love how that clear gloss pops out here in the workshop with just the basic light from the work lights out here. But of course, it really pops out in the yard in the sun when I was clear coating it, and I thought that looked totally cool. Really, really neat. And keep in mind, in today's video, we stack cut, so I have another one of these out of 1/4 inch material to finish in my leisure off camera. I haven't even sanded this one. But what I love about a design like this is the multiple finishing options available to your imagination. It's whatever you want to do with it. Of course, if you have access to a laser and you are not familiar with the scroll saw, you could of course drop the file into a laser, you know, photocopy it, drop it into your software and do it on the laser. You could also cut this out of thicker material and put colored resin in here. I think that would really make this project go to the next level, and you could have a tropical stained glass window looking project, but really neat. Or you could do just like in the magazine and go in and just paint your piece that you have cut out, such as this one here, and just hang it from like some fishing line or something, or against a darker wall. That would really make all of the detail we cut out pop in today's project. For all of the scrolling on today's project, I still used my standard number 5 ultra reverse tooth blades, and it cut through the material exceptionally well. But I will tell you, I went through 2 scroll saw blades cutting this project out. Around 3/4 of the way through, I felt the scroll saw blade getting dull, so I went ahead and swapped it out. I would have hated for that scroll saw blade to potentially break and damage some of this beautiful detail that we were working on. But I had a lot of fun in today's video, and it just reminds me that summer is fast approaching, and hopefully some summertime fun. I am always listening to beach music this time of year. Once again, the design come from the latest issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing, summer 2024, issue 95. And the article where this project is featured is on page 63, and there you see their version, again without the backer board. And then the full-size pattern is in the pattern pull-out section. This is what we photocopied to attach to our material at the beginning of the video. But really, really cool. I had a lot of fun in today's video, and I hope you guys like watching me make this tropical project. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to it, and also follow me across all my social medias under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me, as well as all my social medias, will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one, and remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, and I'll see you guys real soon.